Sup guys, and welcome back to my list, ranking every single one of the bosses in the Fromsoft series. So if you haven't seen the rest of the list, feel free to check it out. We're pretty deep in here. This is going to be one of the final 3 parts, but we're really delving into some of the fucking rancid bosses now. I don't think I have almost anything nice to say about what's to come. And it only goes downhill from here, so let's just start off real strong with 136, the Skeleton Lords. So, the Skeleton Lords, just kind of a filler boss from Dark Souls 2. No thought put into it, no care, no love, just... Here's 3 skeletons. They're all incredibly easy to beat. Despite it being a ridiculous gank, it's not really overwhelming, because they just don't do anything. They'll slowly wander up to you. They'll swing at you, but they don't do a huge amount of damage. I guess you can get a little overwhelmed if you just rush the 3 skeletons and then have to deal with a huge crowd of them. But even then, like, it's fucking nothing. If I had one nice thing to say about them, I guess you can get, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 different weapons from their soul. So there's that, but that's it. Oh, and I love destroying their little, what do you call it, their bone chairs. Just knocking down all their little bones, watching the physics fly around the place. But that's it. Just shit, just stagnant, stale, moldy bread. That's all they are. That's all they'll ever be. Fuck the Skeleton Lords. Let's move on. So, at 137 from Demon Souls, it's the big bastard in armor. It's the Tower Knight. What is there good to say about the Tower Knight? Nothing. It's the same boss fight every single time. Run up and kill the archers, and then kill the Tower Knight. Nothing else. Nothing new, nothing different. It's just fucking miserable. When you're killing the archers, he does have a ranged attack, but I don't think it can actually hit you. It always hits the wall below them. So it's zero threat. It's negative threat. And even if it does hit you, it's so slow that, well, okay, I'll just heal and keep going. There's no sense of urgency in this fight. You can really take your time. Hell, you can kill all the archers and then just sit there for a full hour. Sit there. Go have your breakfast, maybe have a coffee, maybe go out and see some friends. You come back, Tower Knight's still doing fine, just firing arrows at the fucking wall. And once you do kill the archers and you get to go down and fight the guy, is he fun? No, not really. Slow as shit, he will rarely ever hit you. Kind of just a slog depending on what weapon you're using. And it's super annoying when you do die to him, because now you have to fight the Tower Knight again. You have to go up and kill the archers again. And just slog your way through this big fucking health pool just to knock him down so you can hit him in the head. I'm fighting him here with a greatsword, and admittedly on my second playthrough of the game, once I knew what I was doing, Crescent Falchion, he's dead. That's all you need. Crescent Falchion, boom, boom, boom. You can kill him in like 2 cycles, I think. But in this attempt, it took a little longer. I did not know what the fuck I was doing with my build. Yeah, I mean, he's just not fun, and it's a shame because Demon Souls was one of the more recent Souls game I played, and I don't think I really liked almost any of the bosses in this game. But it was their first try, so, give them some slack. But, yeah, there's the Tower Knight, I guess. So, at 138 from Elden Ring, it's Mimic Tier. Now, I'm gonna sound like I don't hate Mimic Tier, because I don't honestly have that much bad to say about him. The only big negative is he's just kind of pissy, is he? He's just an AI NPC, and he puts up just nothing in terms of fight. And as far as nice things goes, he can be kind of interesting. If you run in with like a wacky build, you can essentially fight any AI opponent that you want. Then you can just switch out to your regular build and see like, oh, I wonder how my greatsword build would do against a great axe build, or just some random bullshit. Or you can do what I'm doing in the footage, go in naked, and you can have a fucking fight to the death, just bare-fisted, kicking each other to death. That's kind of cool. But I can't honestly place him any higher than this, because he is just fucking pathetic. Just absolutely fucking pathetic. Very little reward for killing him. He's compulsory in that he just happens to be there. He's not compulsory in that you really want to go for that Mimic Tier. You want to get to that boss fight so you can deal with him. It's just kind of like, oh, here's an arena, just here you go, here's a little boss. Here's a little boss. Yeah, there's not much else to even say about the Mimic Tier. You don't even get his, what do you call it, his ashes? Is that what they're called? I can't remember. Spirit ashes, that's what they're called. Fuck, I forget because I don't really use them. If you got the Spirit Ashes from this boss fight, maybe it would be a little more, like, interesting in my head, because it's like, well, this boss sucks, but you do get the best Spirit Ash in the game from him. But no, you get them later, and he's just here for a little bit of fun. So, at 139, another Demon Souls boss, it's the Stinky Colossus. Simply here because he's just too easy. It really is entirely that. He is just too fucking easy. He has these, like, armor points on his body, these wooden armor points that if you break, I think you do more damage, I don't know. But they all go down in, like, a hit or two. Oh god, this footage. Okay, admittedly, I am a little over level in this fucking footage. I promise I fought him normally, other times. But I usually try and save the swamp to last anyways, because it's probably the least fun area, and I want to be over leveled to not deal with all the bullshit. He has the fly gimmick, which damages you a little bit, and you can run into the flames to get rid of it. That's all he really has going for him, and he kind of doesn't have it going for him, because there's no sense of urgency if you do get hit with the flies. It's like, oh shit, I need to run away before he gets me, but he's so unbelievably slow that who gives a shit? Just run over to the fire and get burned. He's not going to chase you down. He'll just plod around in place and he'll maybe shoot some flies at you. He's just a big, lumpy waste of space. And, especially for one of Demon Souls' more straightforward fights, being that he is a beefed up enemy with a slightly bigger move set and a bigger move pool, he just falls flat in pretty much every area, and I can't place him any higher than this, so that's the Dirty Colossus. So coming in at 140 is the Celestial Emissary from Bloodborne. So I think I mentioned when I was talking about Deacons of the Deep that Dark Souls was slowly getting better at making mob bosses, and Celestial Emissary is kind of that in-between, I guess. Like, I don't think they're quite as good as Deacons of the Deep, but they're definitely better than Manus, and the Congregation, or whatever they're called. They're better than the Rats. And, yeah, I don't know, they're okay. It would have been nice if they were a unique enemy, instead of just the generic, like, alien blobhead things that you've already fought a million fucking times. They do have the one unique enemy, being that, there's the big one. At least I think it's unique. I'm racking my brain here, because I feel like you do fight it by itself at some point later in the game, but maybe not. I will say, the one thing I do like about this fight, it's not even the boss itself, it's the Shaman Boneblade. It is so fun to use the fucking Shaman Boneblade in this boss. That's all you can say about them that's any good. Outside of that, piss easy, feels pretty lazy, not particularly interesting to look at. I guess the flowers in the arena are cool. It'd be nice if they moved, or you could break them, but they're just kind of this weird static meshes that you can just walk through. Yeah, they're just kind of a waste of space. But, it shows development. They're getting better. They're getting better at the mob bosses. It's such a shame that Elden Ring gave up on that idea. We could have had the perfect mob boss, but instead we don't. We have this, and then we have the Deacons. Like, we get the table scraps. There it is, Celestial Emissary, baby. So, at 141 from Dark Souls 2, it's the Demon of Song. So this gigantic fucking froguloid thing, I'm not willing to call it a filler boss, although I don't think a huge amount of thought was put into it. It does at least have a somewhat unique idea going for it, being that it's completely invincible for most of the fight, your weapon just bounces off it, but it brings out the head, you can hit the head, it sort of has a weak spot thing going on. But it's just not executed too well. It's incredibly easy once you know how to dodge it. I think the first time I ever played Dark Souls 2, I actually had a bit of trouble with this boss, and running back to it is fucking miserable. I hate the Shrine of Amana. It's not fun. Nobody likes that shit. But, yeah, on repeat playthroughs, it's just kind of a joke. This thing does way too much damage for no fucking reason. I think they amped up its damage once they realized how easy it was to dodge. And, I don't know, man. It's just a flaccid fucking empty condom of a boss. It's just not particularly fun. Do I have anything nice to say about this? I guess it's singing before you get in there, and then, oh, the big reveal, he was singing, or she, I'm not sure, it's a fucking frog. But, yeah, Demon of Song. So, at 142, it's Dark Sun Gwyndolin. Now, I think a lot of people kind of look back on Gwyndolin in pretty favorable terms. It's definitely an iconic boss. He's an interesting idea, and the cutscene where the hallway expands is really cool. You know, it seems like it's gonna be a fun time, but really, like, look back on this boss and try and think how you felt fighting him, because is it cool? Sure. Is it fun? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Dark Sun Gwyndolin has I'm pretty sure three fucking attacks, and all this boss is just running, attacking, and waiting. And hopefully you get an attack off, because, I mean, sometimes you don't get an attack off, and they teleport, and then you're right back to the same fucking boring, tedious cycle of just running and running and waiting and running and waiting. It's such a miserably shit fight. It's not fun at all. It's only this high because I guess the atmosphere is pretty cool. But again, the boss fight is just shit. It's just not fun to put yourself through it. I only ever fight this boss so I can get the brass armor. That's it. That's all I want from this boss. The brass armor, and just to bolt through it. I guess one tidbit of slightly interesting information is that the hallway isn't actually infinite. If you just keep running, and it will take you, God, it takes you like 15 minutes, I think. You can actually reach the end of the hallway. It's not infinite, it's just a huge, huge, huge map, and you can't really see the end from where you are. But yeah, outside of interesting trivia, and I guess the atmosphere is nice, just shit. Just not fun. Okay, before you say anything, yes, I am absolutely over-leveled in the following clip. However, if you fought Leechmonger before, does it really fucking matter? She's just an immobile, useless, piss-easy joke. A great way to start off the Swamp Shrine, just letting you know, like, listen, none of the bosses here are good, so let's just get, let's get the worst one out of the way first, I guess. Certainly one of the less fun to fight. You can fight him at a distance, and that's not fun. You can fight him up close, and that's not fun. He'll cover you in leeches, which will sap your health, but not by a lot. And occasionally he'll swing. And that's it. That's all he can really do. It has like 3 attacks. Just... What else can I even say about the Leechmonger? Nothing about this boss is interesting. Except maybe the idea of it. But he doesn't move. Maybe if he could like jump around the arena and... I don't know, maybe he had like a huge AoE and you'd have to keep repositioning yourself. That might be interesting. Just an idea, but as it stands, it's shit. It's just, it looks like shit. And it reflects in the battle. So, at 144 from Dark Souls 2, it's the last giant. So I think I already mentioned with Nishandra that I don't really like the weird cutscenes they do in Dark Souls 2. The black bars look goofy, I think the red pulsing effect just looks stupid, I don't see what the point of it is. And my big issue with the Last Giant's cutscene is how much of like, it's just false advertising. He rips himself out of the ground, he comes flying towards you, all piss and vinegar, all shit and custard, just ready to fucking throw down. You think this is gonna be intense, he's gonna be leaping around and swinging wildly. He runs up to you, and then he just stands still. He stands still, and his only move from there, if you stay under his legs, is just stomp. Stomp. Oh, stomp. That's it. That's all he does. And that's it. The boss is just fucking boring. He basically only has the stomp because there's no reason to make any distance from this boss. Just dodge the stomp over and over and over and over again. Even in the second phase where he rips off his arm, which is cool, I like that, but it might as well just be phase 1 again. Because unless you're running away from him for whatever fucking reason, and you still have time to heal because he's so slow, you have no real reason to actually keep your distance from him. Like, he's just slow, and all he's gonna do is use the stump. It just feels like a waste of a pretty cool phase transition, I guess. Oh, I guess he can jump away, but, like, there's an ending lag to him jumping away, so just walk up to him and keep swinging at his feet. A lot of people consider this guy the tutorial boss, and I guess it's either him or maybe the Dragon Rider. I always go for the Dragon Rider first, though, because it's more convenient and I can just get the souls. Ah, God. Last Giant just fucking stinks, but he doesn't suck as much dick as the next boss. And if you couldn't guess who 145 is, it's the slightly worse Last Giant, it's the Giant Lord. The most difficult part about the Giant Lord is running through the first little section. After that, he has 1 attack. He has exactly 1 fucking attack if you just stay under his feet. He'll just swipe, and swipe, and swipe, and swipe. He does have another attack, where he'll attack you on the little podium. But why would I go up to the podium to collect the item when I can just get it when he's dead? It's not like you get forced out of the dream. Oh, is that what it's called? The Giant's Dream? Yeah, the Giant's Dream. You don't get forced out when you kill him. Just run up to the podium and grab all the shit you missed. Hell, you can run all the way back through the level once he's dead. I mean, you got the Giant Soul. Oh, God fucking Christ, this boss. I said he has one attack. He technically has two if you stay under his legs, because he also has a swamp. A swamp. He has a stump. Stump and a sweep. A swamp. And just... oh my fucking God. I have nothing else to say about this guy. I hate the fucking Giant Lord. Just an endless parade of shit from here on out. So, speaking of bosses with limited movesets, we're moving on to 146, which is the Dragon Rider. The Dragon Rider is just a pathetic fucking excuse for a boss. He's one of the few bosses in the entire series that you can just walk behind. You can just walk behind him at any given time. For a boss that's meant to be like a 1v1 with the man in armor kind of thing. Oh, God, my Christ, this thing is sad. The boss can also just kill itself. If you don't raise any of the platforms and you just walk in and just go, you know, you move off the edge, he will kill himself. He will leap off the edge and die. And I often do this in playthroughs because the actual fight's just so unbelievably bland and uninteresting. The only reason I'm fighting him normally is so I have footage of me actually fighting the boss to just illustrate. You can just walk behind him. What? I forget what it's called. It's not called turtling. It's called something else. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Oh, circle strafing. That's what it's called. I think he has like 4 moves. I think it really opens up. One of my big criticisms with a lot of the bosses in Dark Souls 2 is just they have about the same moveset as a basic enemy with just more health. They will have 4 or 5 attacks, no phase 2, and it's monotonous. It's unbelievably monotonous. I can't even imagine what it would be like if they actually gave the bosses in Dark Souls 2 like real boss health bars, like a shit ton of health, and you didn't have access to the most ridiculous damage options half of the time. Like, he might as well not be there. He's just such a fucking waste of space. You know who I think the best first boss would have been in Dark Souls 2? Like, the best option is to go fight the old Dragon Rider. Not old Dragon Rider, old Dragon Slayer, the Ornstein reskin. Because at least that guy has, like, a bit of a moveset. He's kind of a challenge. He's actually a skill check. Dragon Rider's not. Dragon Rider's just a fucking waste of space. He is genuinely easier than the what do you call it? The old knights, the stone knight guys that hang around in Hyde's Tower of Flame. They're harder than him. They're harder to dodge. They track you better. God, just pathetic. But it's not the worst appearance of Dragon Rider, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. So, from Demon Souls at 147, it is the Phalanx. So, as a first boss, I don't really think the Phalanx works. So, what the Phalanx seems to be trying to teach you, at least in my opinion, is that you should be using items in bosses. You should be taking advantage of items. Because fighting this guy without the firebombs and without the turpentine isn't really fun. It's just a humongous blob, a massive mob of enemies that take fucking forever to kill. Well, maybe not forever, but at the very least, they're pretty tedious. They are literally the archetype of just the hold their shield up enemy. You can only hit them from the back. It's just tedious. And I feel like it's kind of punishing to new players as well, that you might figure out, oh, this thing's weak to fire, I should use my firebombs. You go in, you're a little new to the game, maybe you die, and now you have to go farm the firebombs again. Are they called Molotovs in this game? I fucking forgot. I'm sure they're on screen, but my record audio thing is covering it up. I'm just trying to find things to talk about when it comes to the Phalanx, because outside of that, is its design interesting? No, not really, it's kind of just a blob. It's a shame that you don't get the, it's a shame you can't get the Phalanx's little shields. I think you can get the scraping spear, but, nah, fucking don't really use that. Except in PvP, that would be funny. No, it just seems like a waste. It seems like a waste. I feel like they could have put something a little more interesting here as a first boss, but it's easy at the very least, especially if you know what you're doing. So, at 148, it is Pinwheel. Now, Pinwheel is a really sad boss in my opinion for one reason. All you would need to do to fix Pinwheel, give him more fucking health. He has a moveset, he has a gimmick, he has attacks. You know, there's a lot there. But he dies in 5 fucking hits. He's such an unbearable joke. Even if you fight him as your first boss, even if you go down the catacombs and you roll down the edges and you do the skip and you get a summon for this boss as well to add insult to injury. You get Paladin Leroy to go in there and fucking 3-shot him for you if you don't feel like doing it. Oh, it's just such a shame, man. All he needed was more health. I actually really like his design. I think Pinwheel looks really cool. And he does have a pretty diverse moveset. He has the splitting gimmick, which is cool. But just go in there and kill him. He's dead. You're done with it. You get a mask. The reward's nice. You get the Rite of Kindling. Clearly they wanted this to be like a somewhat important boss, considering the significance of the Rite of Kindling. But he's just dead in a second. He's just dead in a fucking second. Although it does bring back memories of, not the first time I played the game, because I didn't know to, you know, skip straight to Pinwheel. But on repeat playthroughs, not quite taking into consideration that if I go and activate, if I go and activate the bonfire in Tomb of the Giants, I am stuck there in a horrible fucking position. So maybe that's the true difficulty of Pinwheel, that if you're not careful, you have to navigate through the Tomb of Giants with like 5 Estus, and, you know, you're level 3. But that's all you can really say about Pinwheel. Such a shame. Such a shame. He could have been great, but sadly he has to languish down here at the bottom of the list. Well, I hope you didn't think we were done talking about the Dragon Rider, because now we have 2 Dragon Riders. And oh my fucking god. Dark Souls 2, could you not put anything else in this room? Literally anything but a reused boss. But now there's 2 of them. Well, it's not really 2 of them. There's 1 of them and his fucking, like, his poor little brother who was born with fucking a quarter of the health pool. Seriously, the second Dragon Rider is dead in seconds. I know that I'm running a pretty, you know, high damage build here, but 4 fucking hits. 4 hits to kill this guy. Jesus. Good God, man. It's just such a sad excuse. No thought put into it. Just 2 enemies that don't really work well together. Luckily, the Dragon Rider is so unbelievably brain dead that it doesn't matter that there's 2 of them. Like, they will gang up on you, but they're so slow that who cares if they're ganging up on you? It's like getting ganged up on by a fucking army of snails. Yeah, there's a lot of them, but you can just stomp them all out in a second. Just... fuck me. Just, what a waste. What a waste. Because I actually kind of like the boss room. I don't know, but that's just me. And finally, at 150, it's the Royal Rat Authority. Let's be real here. Take out the little poison dogs, which are dogs. They don't look a fucking thing like rats, by the way, and neither does the boss. It's clearly a dog. Take it out, and the boss is better. Take those little fucking bastards that inflict toxic on you. Get them out of that fucking room, and this boss is better. I mean, don't get me wrong. He would still be like, I don't know, 100. But not 150. God, these things ruin the fight. Not because they're too difficult to deal with, because you can kind of like back away and get pot shots in, and you can deal with them pretty effectively. But why toxic? Why toxic? And it's like 2 hits and you're toxic. It just fucking destroys the boss fight. Once they are dead, nothing to say about him. He's a very... just paint by numbers, pretty boring big boss. Just get underneath him. You can hack at him. Honestly, I'd kind of put him on the level of Sith. He has about as interesting a moveset. But Sif doesn't have any toxic dogs, and I guess Sif at least looks a lot cooler. He's a more interesting idea. I don't think I hate this guy's moveset. He has the charge, which is kind of fun to dodge. He has the vomit attack when he's at low health. That's kind of cool. But outside of that, he's just nothing, and the toxic dogs completely fucking ruin it. So, with that, we're coming to the end of the list. So, like I said at the start, if you guys haven't seen the rest of the list, feel free to check it out. You know, this is just kind of a weird little passion project. I know it's not the kind of video I normally make. And I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let me know in the comments if there's anything you agree with, disagree with, any boss you should, you know, any boss you think should be way higher or way lower. But, yeah, with that, peace out, guys, and thanks for watching.